welcome once again to another installment of the Mandalorian Season 2 Ups and Downs. I'm Ewan, this is What Culture, and it's time to get stuck into Chapter 10, or Baby Yoda and the Quest for Eggs. It'll make sense the further we get in. Oh, and obviously there will be major spoilers for this episode throughout the review, so if you haven't seen it yet and you don't wish to be spoiled, you should probably turn around and find the nearest hyperspace port and punch it out of here, because I don't want to be spoiling the show for anyone, because it's really good. This week's episode of The Mandalorian was directed by Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp helmer Peyton Reed, again with a script from Jon Favreau, and he ends up delivering a very comedic but also terrifying installment of the series. I'll get into the finer details of the plot in the review, but for now, let's punch it and dive in. Here are 4 ups and 2 downs from The Mandalorian, Chapter 10. First, the ups. Number 4. It's funny in all the right ways. One thing I absolutely have to mention right now is how impressed I've been with this season and the way it's balanced humour with the kind of darker original trilogy-esque tone we've come to expect from The Mandalorian. Last week's episode was full of lots of really funny moments, and this week's episode, given Peyton Reed was directing, is no exception. It's really funny. Obviously, at the beginning, you have the bit where the Mandalorian and the child get ambushed by those raiders, and in exchange for the child's life, Mando's like, here, have my jetpack. I totally can't control this on my wrist and go beep, beep, boop, 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 and then you'll go flying and break every bone in your tiny alien body. That definitely won't happen, and then of course he proceeds to do just that, and it's really funny because you get that shot of Mando and the child just looking up just as this guy just goes flying. It's wonderful. Again, there's also the goofy aliens, which I absolutely adore, but then also Baby Yoda and his goddamn eggs in this episode. Like, there's a really good bait and switch early on where he approaches the egg tank and you think that he is connecting with the life inside, but no, he's just really hungry. I mean, I relate to Baby Yoda because I'm hungry a lot of the time too, and I end up eating way more than I should, but come on, man. He's just a rascal. He literally scrams on this poor alien frog lady's children, and it's funny, but also, it's just really funny. I can't say more. It's definitely the most rascally we've seen the child yet, and it is a very child-oriented episode as well. And yeah, it's just really funny and good. And oh my god, Baby Yoda needs to stop testing everything by putting it in his mouth. It is not gonna end well. I mean, it doesn't end well in this episode, but going forward, the character arc that I would like to see for the child is that he reaches out with the Force to discover whether or not he should be eating a thing, rather than just walking up to an object and just going, hum, because it's just gonna end badly. Again, the last season wasn't exactly light on levity, but I have noticed a more comedic focus from this one in a way that isn't distracting. It doesn't detract from the overall tone of the show. It's just really enjoyable to watch and entertaining, and it's great to see the Mandalorian's lighter side too. You know, Din Djarin, he was very serious in the first episode. Obviously, you would be if your entire family was massacred by battle droids at a young age and you were raised by a group of death mercenaries who are really cool, but also, and yeah, it's just great to see him have a few lighter moments. That bit at the end where he's kind of just teasing the mother about how they could just get sucked out into space if the door doesn't hold. It's dark, but also really funny. Number 3, the sheer array of aliens on display. Again, I can't talk about this show without mentioning the aliens because they're just wonderful. We get loads here. Dr. Mandible, who I adore, the raiders at the beginning of the episode, and of course the knobby white spiders, which I'll get to in a few minutes. They're like the spiders from Star Wars Rebels. They might even be the same spiders, just reimagined differently, but I don't think so. And they're awful. They're really good, but also, damn, please, no more of that. In the wake of last week's episode, I saw a lot of really good takes online about how The Mandalorian is basically kind of like the Mos Eisley Cantina scene from A New Hope, where you have that great panning shot and you have all the great horrifying but also characterful aliens, and it is a lot like that. That tone that feeling of the unknown, that kind of feeling of fear as well, because there are some really creepy characters in there, but also some really goofy looking ones. And again, The Mandalorian gets them all right with that effortless blend of practical and computer-generated effects. The show never relies too heavily on one or the other. It never feels like it's beholden to older technology, but at the same time, you know, it's respectful and understands how to make it work. And it's so believable. I know this show has a big budget, like I mentioned last week, but again, it just works really, really well, and I'm impressed by how great the alien characters are, both old and new. It's teeming with exotic characters, and I love them all, especially Dr. Mandible, even if he is a lousy gambler. Again, if nothing else, Mando is just a great showcase of the breadth and creativity in the Star Wars mythos. Number 2, The Child's Antics. For those who thought the last episode was found wanting in the child does things department, well, you're gonna love this one. Peyton Reed absolutely loves Baby Yoda, and he turns in what may be the child's most chaotic appearance yet. Again, I have to mention that great bait and switch where you think he's connecting with the frog woman's eggs and then just actually is secretly treating them as a giant jar of pickled eggs, and he just downs them all in one, and the Mando's like, no, stop. Please, baby, stop eating the eggs. And the child's just like, nah, mate, I'm gonna eat all the eggs I want because I'm a rascal. And you know what? I'm really here for it. It's really entertaining. This is definitely one of the better child-centric episodes of The Mandalorian. Not that he gets distracting or anything, it's great. They're cute, they're funny, they're mischievous. And also, I fear for them every time they're placed, even in the slightest bit of peril. And in this episode, they get placed in a lot of peril, so you can imagine it was quite stressful for me to watch. And number 1, a healthy dose of horror. Where do I even begin with this? When they crash land on the planet, they're basically chilling in the Razor Crest, expecting to die because they have no engines, the hull's fried, it's really bad. But anyway, the frog woman decides it would be a great idea to just take herself and her children to the hot springs that are nearby. And at that point, Mando's like, what are you doing? And he starts gathering up her children, and she's more than happy to oblige because I think she realizes that it maybe wasn't the best idea in retrospect. And after being shooed away from eating the eggs again, the child ends up exploring the cave and sees that there are actually lots of eggs around. He can eat all the eggs he wants because there are loads in this frozen cave. And approaching them, like John Hurt from Alien, he opens one up and he just eats a dead spider. And then all the other egg sacs start moving, and before you know it, they're all being chased by a giant pack of knobby white spiders, which kind of look like the ones from Star Wars Rebels, but also I don't think are, because those ones were invulnerable to blasters, whereas these ones weren't. And oh my god, they're just terrifying. It's a horrifying design. I thought the Krayt Dragon was terrifying. This is like a completely other different level. This scene was magnificent. It's basically the Wampa cave scene from The Empire Strikes Back, but dialed up to about 25. And it is just genuinely really good. I've never seen this level of horror in Star Wars before, at least not since playing Jedi Fallen Order, when the creepy vine creatures and Kashyyyk come after you, and also the spiders and that. But these spiders definitely take the cake as being the most terrifying alien spiders I have ever seen. They are awful. They swarm, they come in different sizes, there's a giant one, and it's just a great horror set piece that is integrated seamlessly into Star Wars, and again exemplifies the strengths of the franchise. You know, it's a franchise that is home to so many different genres, and the fact that The Mandalorian can straddle like Western, war, sci-fi, and then also horror is just a testament to the strength of Star Wars as a whole. Now for the downs. Number 2. It's a little disappointing it didn't build off last week's tease. Man, I really would have liked to have seen more of Boba Fett in this episode. I kind of felt the intro was a little bit of an unfair bait and switch. You have the Mando speeding along and you are expecting something bad to happen because there's no music, it's very ominous, and then instead of Boba Fett ambushing them, we get some random raiders. Again, it's fine. I can stand the standalone episodes, but equally, after having that tease at the end of the first one, it did feel ever so slightly anticlimactic for it not to integrate into this episode in any way, shape, or form. I totally realize we'll see Boba Fett another time in the future, but you'd think he'd maybe be a little bit more enthusiastic about getting his armor back, or maybe he doesn't care. Either way, I thought it was a bit of a weird move given the excitement that came from last week's tease. And number 1, it's another self-contained adventure. But by far the biggest frustration for me with this episode is the fact we're no closer to learning anything about the other Mandalorians in the galaxy or Baby Yoda's species and people. I was actually a fan of the first season standalone episodes, I mentioned this last week, and that's because even though at the time they felt like they interrupted the overarching narrative, they still, developed Mando's relationship with the child. There was still development going on with the characters. And again, I'm not saying that's not existent here, but it was more pronounced back then because he was learning that he couldn't be the Mandalorian he once was, whereas he's already at that point here. There is development, don't get me wrong, but equally, after last week's tease, where it kind of looked like we were getting into that central mystery, this episode did feel very anticlimactic. Self-contained stuff is totally fine, but starting off your season this way is a little bit peculiar. I'm confident we'll get more answers in episode 3, but for now, this is a little bit frustrating. Even though the self-contained episode stuff is fun, we just need a little bit more. I need to learn more. You can't tease all this mystery and kind of leave it away for the time being. That's kind of just my point on it. That might be me being impatient, I don't know, but I definitely kind of want to see more, and it is a little bit frustrating that we're kind of engaging in these one-off adventures for the time being. And those were 4 ups and 2 downs to The Mandalorian Chapter 10. Did you enjoy the episode? Let us know in the comments below, and please don't forget to go like, share, and subscribe to What Culture while you're at it. Also, cool announcement, we have What Culture Star Wars. Woo! It's a brand new channel, it's really cool. You should go check it out right now. We're gonna have lists, news, reviews, podcasts, everything you can expect from What Culture, but revolving around a galaxy far, far away. I'm really excited about it. Everyone's really excited about it. Please go check it out if you love Star Wars. And yeah, that is it from me. I've been Ewan, and I will see you next time. Bye!